To make myself look more convincing as a blind man, I stepped right into the blood, pretending I couldn't see the body on the floor. But when I reached the bathroom, I realized things were far worse than I thought. The killer was standing right behind me, holding a gun. I never meant to be part of this mess. Some time ago, I found a clever way to make a living. If I acted blind, people would trust me easily. They'd offer help, sympathy, even free housing from the government. But that was never enough. I used my job as a pianist to enter people's homes. No one suspects a blind man, so I often saw things I shouldn't have. But what I didn't realize then was that pretending to be blind would one day become the biggest regret of my life. That day, I was hired to play at a rich man's house for his wife's birthday. When she opened the door, she looked nervous, almost unwilling to let me in. But I had already taken her husband's payment, and after the performance, I was promised another generous fee. I couldn't walk away. Our voices drew the attention of the elderly neighbor, so the woman had no choice but to let me in. I started playing, trying to focus on the music, but something felt wrong. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a man lying on the floor in the living room motionless. It took me a second to realize what I was seeing. A corpse. Now I knew why she didn't want me inside. I had to stay calm. I told her I needed to use the bathroom. On the way, I stepped right into the blood to make my act look more real. Inside the bathroom, I tried to steady my breathing, but then I sensed it. The killer was standing right behind me, gun in hand. I didn't dare move or breathe too loudly. One wrong move, and I'd be dead. I forced myself to stay in character, and he didn't suspect a thing. When I returned to the piano, I finally saw clearly the dead man was her husband. My hands trembled, but I kept playing. The woman pretended to call her husband, saying he'd be home in 10 minutes. While I played, they started cleaning up the body. The man wrapped it in plastic, and the woman went to the door pretending to greet her husband. Then she played a voice recording of him, taking a phone call. The killer put on the husband's clothes, grabbed a suitcase and left the house, dragging the body away. After leaving, I sat on the roadside for a long time, wondering whether I should go to the police. The man who died had always been kind to me, often tipping me generously at the bar. I felt I owed him that much, so I finally went to the police station. But the moment I reported the murder, the killer walked out of a nearby office wearing a police uniform. He was the chief. My heart nearly stopped. I quickly said I was there because my cat had been killed. He didn't believe me. It was too much of a coincidence, the only blind man at the scene coming straight to the police. To test me, he offered to drive me home. Once inside, he noticed a newspaper on my table. I told him it was for cleaning up after the cat, but he didn't seem convinced. Then he slowly took out a knife.